It's never a waste of time to make time for the truth. A moment spent listening and paying attention to the truth can change your life. So let's take a moment for the truth. Psalms 119:31 says, I cling to your testimonies. Lord, do not put me to shame. I often remind myself of the phrase, disappointment is directly proportional to expectation. What do I mean by that? Well, it means that the more you expect something to happen, the more you're disappointed when or if it doesn't happen. If you really don't expect a certain outcome, well, then you're not disappointed when it doesn't occur. And of course, the opposite is also true. Now, the reason I mention this is because that really applies in the verse of the psalm that we're looking at today. Perhaps you'll recall that the context of this whole section of 8 verses is that of a writer dealing with the heavy weight that sometimes accompanies this earthly life. Remember, verse 25 begins with the words, my soul clings to the dust. That's not exactly a pleasant picture, but it does set the frame for this section. Now take note of this verse as it begins, I cling to your testimonies. This is progress. He has decided that he will hold fast to God's testimonies. In specific terms, God's testimonies point directly to those commands which bear witness to his character and his confirmed will. He is declaring that he will hold on tightly to who God is and who he has declared himself to be. You see, he not only believes in God, he believes him. God has expressed who he is, and the writer has said that he expectantly seizes on the declared nature and reality of the God who has spoken. These are words of high expectation. He is putting it all on the line that God is true to his testimony. And now look at the words that follow. Lord, do not put me to shame. When I first read those words, I was puzzled. How does it fit with the words that just went before it? I discovered that the whole phrase comes from just 3 words. First, there's God being addressed, Lord. It's in all caps, so that means it's the formal name of God, Yahweh. Then there's the negative connected with the verb translated do not. And then there's the verb itself, put to shame. Do not put to shame. The one word translated here for put to shame it's really very interesting. In simple terms, it means to pale, by implication, to be shamed, dry, naked. And now I see it more clearly. The writer has placed his expectation that God is as he is declared. He's clinging to it. And so he asks that God not allow him to be brought down in his expectation of him. It's like saying, God, I've placed it all on you. I'm holding tight to you. Don't let me be left naked and ashamed in you. Don't disappoint me. We'll see the result of that in the next verse. But for now, what you see here is faith in God and in him alone. The writer does not have a reserve or a fallback in any resource of his own. It reminds me of the verse in Isaiah 26:3, where it says, you will keep the mind that is dependent on you in perfect peace, for it is trusting in you. Everything in the testimony of God declares that he can be trusted. As the old hymn reminds us, on Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. It only takes a moment to believe the Lord. You will not be left in shame, and that moment will matter. Thanks for watching and listening to Truth Matters Moment. Also, don't forget to look for our weekly podcast called Truth Matters. It comes out every Wednesday. Catch you later.